Day two. Welcome. How are you doing? So glad that you're here. I wanted to put this on because now is the best possible time, seriously, the best possible time to be selling your programs, your courses, what you do to help people. It's the best time of year, I promise you, and I really want to help you make the most of this week, next week, and into January so you can start 2023 with a big cash month, with a big number of clients, with a big number of sales, start as you mean to go on. So yesterday we talked about telling people what you do, why that's so important, why people have to hear it over and over again, how to talk about it in a way that is relatable and that people get. So important. I talked yesterday about how sometimes what I see is people mixing up the what you do and how you do it. You start with the kind of how or the container or the offer of what you do. For example, it's a 12 video course or it is a 3-month coaching program. Doesn't give them any information. It doesn't help them at all. It doesn't answer any of the questions that they have in their mind. So yesterday, just looking at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything, the what has to answer this. It has to be the result of what your clients want. It has to answer their question. Answer their question that they're having. Answer the problem that they're having. Be something valuable that they can be like, that is for me, that's what I want. And number 3, it has to be the thing they want. So I ran you through an exercise yesterday of understanding what that is, what your clients actually want, and then giving that to them. That's going to be the simplest, shortest way of you making more sales and having more people reach out. It sounds very, very simple, but there is so much room for error here. There is so much that can be confusing or that you can make confusing in your mind when you don't think of it this way. So I really want to encourage you to think of it in those really simple terms. It sounds so obvious, it sounds so common sense, but then 90% of people just don't do this. So if you do it, you will just make more sales, you'll have more money, you will welcome in more clients, you'll be able to work with more people, which is what you want to do. So it's win-win. And it can be this easy, I promise. So the what is the result you provide. It is answering a question they have about their problem, and it is what they want. Give the people what they want and they will buy from you. So today I want to talk about the how. Again, this is important when you're writing content, when you are talking to people, when people ask you more questions about the what. You want to have these things in your brain to say to them when they ask you more, like, how does it work? For example, if you're having a normal conversation with someone, maybe you're at a networking event or you meet someone at the school gates or whatever, and they ask what you do and they ask how it works, and you're having a conversation, you want to have this in your back pocket. You want to practice saying these words over and over again and really understanding it for you first. So when I coach my clients, we go into this in so much depth and they practice it, they write this stuff out, not so that they can then go tell people the exact thing they wrote, but for them, so they understand it. Because then when it comes out of your mouth, it's going to come out in lots of different ways, and that's great, that's really good, that's what you want. But you have to be super clear on the how. You have to know, if someone asks you on a sales call or through content or in comments or in conversation, you want to know exactly what the steps are that you're going to run somebody through to get them from where they are now to what they want. That has to be so clear for you, because when it's so clear for you, you make it sound really simple when you talk to people. It changes how you show up. It changes how much people can understand you. It changes how they see themselves doing it and them thinking, oh, this is totally possible. I can do this too. So it's a really good exercise to do. So the how. What you may be doing now that isn't creating that energy and that clarity for your clients is when somebody asks you how you deliver your program or how you do your coaching or how your service works, you go into the logistics. You go into, well, it's a 12-week course. We talk about these 4 things. You have a weekly call, then you have a group call. You talk about the logistics, you talk about the actual nuts and bolts. You're not talking about the overall step by step of what your client will actually be doing to get them to the result. So I see this happen so often, especially when people are writing about their offer on social media and like inviting people into their offer. They give them all of the facts. Your clients don't want the facts. They don't care how many times you meet. They don't care if it's once a week, 3 times a week, once a month. They just want to know before they engage, before they reach out to you and inquire, before that spark of interest is sparked, they have to know what they will be required to do in the process. So what this looks like now is, you will probably think, okay, I've got a 3-month coaching program, so I'm going to show people, I'm going to tell people when we're going to meet, how it's going to look, the worksheets they have, and you're not telling them the actual process that they're going to go through. And why this doesn't work is that your clients will not relate to it. You have to remember that in this part of content or in the conversation, and again, this framework, you can apply it in a sales page. This is the basic stuff that you can lift and you can put anywhere. You can put this on your website, on your sales pages. You can do this in live videos. So this framework you can use everywhere. This is so important and so good. But thinking about how you talk about it, it has to answer some questions for them. Their questions that they have in their mind are, will this thing work? Like before they want to reach out, before they're going to open themselves up and be vulnerable to reach out to you to ask the question, they have to have it clear in their mind that this thing's going to work. Otherwise they just won't. They just don't reach out, essentially. They'll move on. So you have to answer, like, will this thing work? How does it work? What will I have to do? Think about your client thinking about this. They're thinking, what will I have to do? What process am I going to have to go through? Is it going to be possible for me? Is it something I can do? Is it going to be hard? Is it going to require lots of time and energy and effort? This is everything that's happening in your client's brain before they reach out to you. So if you can answer those questions, you're already 80% of the way through the entire sales process. This is the magic in getting very good at this stuff, is that you will have people coming on sales calls who are already like, I know I want to do this, because you've answered all of those questions. So your process has to be very simple, so simple that we talked about this yesterday, that someone who doesn't even know any of the jargon, has never had a coach, never done personal development, they could understand it. They'll be like, oh yeah, sure, that makes sense. I can see myself doing that. That is what you want to encourage your people to have. The thought like, I can do that. That seems possible. That doesn't sound so hard. Oh, it's easier than I thought. That's a great one. So thinking about those things, I'm going to give you a couple of examples and show you what this means in a minute. But why this kind of step-by-step process and how clear you are on your step-by-step process, why it works, is it answers all those questions for your client and it shows them a clear step-by-step. It shows them how you are going to be responsible for the result for them. And they're going to do stuff too, of course, but how you have built it, how you've designed it, so there's no margin for error. That's what people are looking for when they have doubt and uncertainty in their minds. They're thinking, yes, but what if it doesn't work? So you just have to show them that you've thought of all the steps, you've thought of the way through, you've been through it before, either yourself or you've taken other people through it, and it works. When you can do that, and at first, if you've not worked with people before, or if it is a new offer that you're devising and you don't have that, just base it on what you think, what you guess is going to be the best thing. What is your best guess? And use yourself as an experiment. Like, look at what you have done to achieve a result and use that. So it has to show the clear path from where they are now to where they want to get to. And this was shown to me so clearly through having lots and lots of sales calls with lots and lots of people. This was probably 2 years ago when I first started my business, and I didn't have this. I didn't have a process. I thought I did, but I didn't. I was just like throwing things together, and I was in that phase of guessing essentially, but I hadn't done this work. I hadn't sat down and really figured out all the things that they would have to do, all the things that they would have to understand, to learn and to do to get the result. I hadn't thought about it in those simple terms. So when I had a sales call and somebody said to me, because I was like, okay, this is what my coaching is, it's 3 months, this is the result you get. And they literally asked me, they were like, yes, but what do I get? Which is basically asking in different words, what do I have to do? Like, what are you going to give me? What am I going to have to do? How do I get this result? And I didn't have the answer, and it was incredibly awkward, and I didn't know what to say, and I fluffed up all the things that are coming out of my mouth, and it felt very awkward. And of course she couldn't say yes because it was not clear. There was no clear path. I hadn't given her a very easy thing to wrap her brain around, so of course it was a no. She's like, no. And thank goodness as well, thank goodness I had a period, I'm not even kidding, 6 months solid, nobody saying yes. That is that now, of course at the time it doesn't feel great, but now I look on that time as such a gift because I had to work on this stuff. I had to go back to the drawing board and ask myself why that was happening, and then solve it, and then try something again, and then ask myself why that wasn't happening and solve it and try it again. So believe me, if you're in that position, I have been there, which is why I know how to do this, because I've been in the situation of not having this stuff clear, and then I've also been on the flip side of having this stuff clear and being able to talk about it in a very simple way to help my clients get to a decision very quickly, whether it's a yes, I want it, or no, I don't want it. But at least they have all the information and it's very clear in their mind. It's not confusing. Okay. So why, another reason it works, having this step-by-step process, it just fills in the blanks for your clients. Imagine they're coming to you, they feel nervous, they feel doubtful that they can get it. Maybe they've tried tons of stuff before, none of it's worked. I was having this conversation with a few people recently, and it was either happening for them, that they had that situation where, you know, they've tried loads of things in the past and nothing's worked, or their clients have that experience. And that's valid because it's true. When you've had that experience over and over again, you have such a seed of doubt in your mind. You're like, well, nothing's going to work because I've done all of this other stuff and none of it's worked. So when you have a very clear process, and I would suggest maximum of 6 things, maximum of 6 individual steps that you take your people through. 3 is great if you can boil it down into 3. I think 3 is a bit of a challenge, to be quite honest with you, because there will be sub steps anyway. Like, if someone says to you, like, there's only 3 things you ever have to do anything, just challenge them, because I bet under each of those steps there's like 6 things. It's just the way, because it's not like, it can be simple but there's stuff underneath. But it just fills in the blanks for your people. If you have between 3 and 6 doable, actionable things that they will actually have to do, it gives their brain something to hang on to. It gives them context. It answers the question of, yes, but is it possible for me? Because they'll just say, okay, I can see myself doing that. Sure, makes sense. I can see myself doing it. And that seems logical. That's kind of where you want your clients to be thinking. So filling in the blanks for them is everything. It's no good like posting on social media and putting all this great value out and saying, promising this result, if you haven't worked that out, for one, it's foolhardy for you, because if you can't deliver on it, don't sell it, essentially. If you do sell it and you can't deliver on it, it's just going to create so much drama for you, so much drama for your clients. They're going to ask for their money back. It's all going to be a disaster. They'll go tell everyone not to work with you. It just creates such a problem that it's not even worth it. So if you give your best guess on the delivery and then work on it tirelessly. Work on it tirelessly until you have the formula. You're like, this is the formula. This is everything that my people need to do from where they are right now to getting all of these results. These are the things, and be prepared to experiment and to change those things if needs be. Be prepared to be flexible in your approach. So it makes it seem really achievable. That's what you want. You want to create the sense of reassurance, safety, and comfort and trust. And people can feel that when they're like, okay, it makes sense. I can see myself doing it. It's not going to be too hard. If you think of it this way, the only reason that the humans all around us, and us included, don't have everything that they want in life is because they had a thought at some point that that's going to be too hard. That's going to be too complicated. That's going to be too hard. I'm not going to do it. Think about it. That's the only thing standing in your way between getting exactly what you want, I believe. Like, you can apply this to relationships, you can apply this to money, you can apply this to health, you can apply this to really anything. Of course, there's outside circumstances, but if people had that thought, oh, I can do this, how much further along would they be towards all of their goals? So your job is to really encourage and allow them to have that thought and to stand by it and to be good on it, essentially, to come good for them because you've thought of the things they need to do. So I'll give you a couple of examples to show you how this can work. So, for example, there's a part of my coaching which is all based around goals, and I did a workshop on this the other day, and I will run you through the example and I'll run you through the steps, and then that should give you a really good sense of how I come to this work. So number one is, what do they want? They want a goal that feels motivating and they're actually going to get. That's what we all want with goals. We actually want to hit them. We want to set one that feels great, and then we also want to get it. So that's what my clients want. The how is I make them create a really compelling vision for it. Number two, I make them commit to it. So they have to decide and actually commit to the goal. The third thing is planning all the obstacles, allowing all the doubts to come up, and then writing a list of all the obstacles and then a plan to solve them, which becomes your action plan, and then it's just doing the actions. So it's a 4-step process: vision, commit, write down obstacles, action, and then rinse and repeat. That is a 4-step process of how I get them from not having a goal, being really unclear about a goal, feeling overwhelmed or pressured by money goals, to having a goal that feels amazing and working tirelessly towards it and feeling really good. That is my process. I'll give you another example. So this is an example for health and nutrition. So the what they want, remembering the questions yesterday, like what is it they actually want? It answers a question and it's the result. They want to lose weight for good without dieting. That is what they want. How they do it is: step 1, assess where they're at now. Step 2, manage emotional eating, like understand the triggers, understand the habits so that you can work on it. Number 3, choose supporting habits to work on, like sleep, movement, hydration, etc. Number 4, pick the plan, like pick the eating plan, pick the movement plan. And number 5, follow the plan. So again, it sounds very, very simple. It sounds so logical, but this takes quite a lot of work. It takes a lot of work because you, as the expert, if you help people to get any result, essentially, you're the expert. Even if you are a service provider, if you're a virtual assistant, if you're a copywriter, if you're a website designer, this still applies. You still have the step-by-step process when you have a conversation with somebody and they're like, great, I want the result, I want the what, now tell me what I'll have to do in order to have it. This still applies. You need to have the 4 or 5, and I like 4 or 5 steps because it's not too much, it's not too little, it's not like, oh, there's only 2 things you ever have to do, because people are like, well, that's not true. It's never just 2 things you have to do. So 4 or 5 steps, and there's gonna be things underneath them. Don't get me wrong. With these, any of these kind of 5-step process or 4-step process, it's not like one week you're gonna do this, the next week you're gonna do this. They're gonna like change around. That's totally fine. But there are 4 or 5 things that you know your people have to master and get good at in order to have the outcome. When you know that and you know how to take them through it, even if they go a completely different order, even if they start with the thing that you think is at the end, it doesn't matter. As long as you're hitting all of those points, as long as you can measure and have it in your mind where they're at, be like assessing progress, seeing that they have built skills and built capabilities for each of the steps, then you're good, because you can talk about it like this, and then what they get is what you've talked about, and that's going to create such a good experience for your people when they buy. It's going to create, number one, the inspiration to buy, the inspiration to work with you, because in their mind they say, that's doable, I can do that, I can choose habits to work on, I can pick a plan with their help, they're the expert, I'm going to just pick the plan, they're going to show me how to do that, and then I can follow the plan because they're going to help me and be accountable and hold me accountable. So when your client has that level of clarity in their mind, then it allows them to take the next step with you, to understand what to now they need to do. So what we're going to talk about tomorrow is the how it's going to work for them. So it may sound the same. It may sound the same as tell them how it works, but there is subtlety in this. There is nuance in this, and everything that I've learned and in coaching all of my clients and helping loads of people to get good at this stuff, it's in the smallest things that you change that create massive impact. Even the smallest thought, when that changes in your mind and you go out and you write content with a different thought, that makes a massive difference. So tomorrow I'm going to show you exactly how to address, basically how to address objections in content. Whenever you are writing and kind of showing up and inviting people to your world and creating that kind of sticky content we talked about, creating a reason for them to stick around and go and binge and go and watch more of your content, you're just in such a fantastic position to just show them how it works, show them how it's going to be great. I want you to imagine that this is your beautiful, what was I thinking about yesterday? I had the analogy of your program being like this beautiful meal in a restaurant. Imagine that, you know, your clients are all sitting around at tables, they're looking at the menu, your content, how people kind of engage with you and find you is the beautiful menu. The menu is there to inspire them, to get their appetites going, to build desirability for them, to like give them anticipation, to build excitement for what's to come. If your menu is like 3 things and it's just like potatoes, what do you get? Oh, you get potatoes. They're not going to want to eat there. They're going to leave the restaurant and go to a restaurant that has the atmosphere and the ambiance and a waiter that's like telling them what's delicious today and telling them what the kitchen is doing special order and telling them what's been like the catch of the day and getting everyone really excited. Your menu needs to be, and this is your content. When people walk into that restaurant and they pick up the menu, you want them to stay. You want them to stay and pay and eat there. Not, look at the menu and say, yeah, I don't like this. The lighting's weird. The waiter's massively like overly in my face. The menu sounds gross, and then walk out. And that's what's happening with your content when you don't think of it in these terms. If you think of introducing your clients into this gorgeous experience, this immersive experience, they find your content and they're like, ooh, this is exciting, this is enticing, I want to stick around, this menu is delicious, ooh, what shall I have? This sounds incredible. I'm going to ask the waiter. I'm going to ask what's really good today. I'm really excited for this meal. That's kind of the vibe I want you to think about creating for your people. And you can do this on social media. You can do this with posts. You can do this in conversation. It's about creating the urge or creating the desire to find out more, creating curiosity for them to lean in and want more, not lean out and be like, this restaurant sucks, I'm going next door. Which is what's happening when you don't think about this, when your content is very bland, when it's just copying what other people do, when you're just like hodgepodging it out, or you have a thought, I need to just get this stuff out because someone told me that I have to be consistent and I have to like share 5 times a day. When you're coming at your content with that mindset, it's when people leave the restaurant. It's when people unfollow. They're like, no, this is not cool. I don't want to eat here. I'm going to go eat somewhere else. So I love this analogy because I love food. So for me, it makes sense in my brain. I'm like, oh, what can I do that's going to make them stay, make them order a starter, main course and dessert, and then like come work with me? What is that? What do I have to put on? What's the experience I want to create for them in that exchange? And it is an exchange of ideas, it's an exchange of attention, it's an exchange of energy. So it's your duty to be interesting and your duty to add the value and create that experience for them. And this is why I love content marketing and why I think it's so important, because it really is like, once you get good at this stuff, your business can grow and grow and grow. And it's so much fun. It can be so much fun to get this. You don't have to follow rules. You don't have to follow strategies. You don't have to follow social media blueprints. I find all of that stuff incredibly tedious and dull. What I love to do is ignite and like inspire and excite my people to take the next step. And this is what I want to help you do so that you can show up to it in this different way. So you can show up to it in this like, okay, we've talked about the what. Am I very clear about my what? Is it for them? Do they understand it? Do they see me and they go, that's for me? Am I answering their questions? Now let's talk about the how. Let's talk about my process. Let's talk about the steps they're going to take. Maybe I want to talk about just one step and why that's important and what they would need to do. So there are so many ways to talk about this. It gives you so much expansive creativity to show up for your people and to show up for your audience in a way that's going to get them to sit at the table and order more and to be there and to order their main meal. Okay, so what to do? Figure out your steps, figure out the 4 to 6 steps that have to happen for your clients, and then talk about them. Practice getting them out. Practice making it so clear in your mind. And the way you make it so clear in your mind is you write about it and you talk about it. The more you do, the clearer it gets, and the clearer it gets, the more people are going to ask to work with you. Okay, so that's what I have for you today. For tomorrow's session, I'm going to talk about the what will it work for me. So answering objections in copy, so that when people come to a sales call, they're already in. They don't have any more questions to ask because you answered them all. That's a gorgeous place to be. And you can be like, great, let's talk about working together. This is how it works. This is how you pay me. this is how we get started, which is a very different sales call to like managing and handling all of the questions that they've still got because you've answered them all in your content or in conversation. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's time is going to be 1 p.m, not 10 a.m, because I have calls. So tomorrow at 1, I'll do an event so you can come and join, and I'll see you there.